Hi everyone, today we will present to you the last video for this course from our group. Today, our group will present about the performance management system focusing on benchmarking. Before we start, let us grab the concept of benchmarking by knowing what is benchmarking, types, advantages, limitations and process of benchmarking. So, under the performance management system, one of the commonly used technique by companies is the benchmarking. It refers to a process of measuring the performance of a company's internal processes and then sizing up against organizations considered best in class. In other words, it is a comparison exercise to know where we stand when compared to our competitors. In benchmarking, we need to evaluate our performance by comparing with other company or an overall industry average. For instance, we compare our nature of work with other companies in the same field of business and they set certain type of standard of working. It is a matter of work from different companies which creates some standard for the work they deliver. This benchmarking allows us to compare our work ability with another companies. Next is the types of benchmark. Here are some of the types of benchmarking that we can relate to performance management. The first one is internal benchmarking. Internal benchmarking is where an organization can compare their internal performances of various departments across different locations within the organization. For example, a company that have 2 distribution centers can compare the 2 distribution centers' performance and make improvement where is needed. The next one is competitive benchmarking. Competitive benchmarking is where an organization can compare their performance with their direct competitors. For example, Company A compare themselves with their direct competitor, that is Company B, in terms of their business performance, production and services performance. Last but not least is the industry benchmarking. Industry benchmarking is where an organization can make comparison with the leaders in the industry. For example, Huawei Mobile Phones Company is comparing themselves with Apple Incorporation in terms of best marketing, finance and operations departments.
Next is the process of benchmarking. There are 10 steps of benchmarking, which are: determine processes to be benchmarked, determine organizations to be benchmarked, gather data, locate deficiencies, determine future trends, reveal results and sell the process, achieve consensus on revised goals, establish procedures, implement procedures and monitor results, and recalibrate benchmarks. This step involves defining accurately the process to be benchmarked. It is the basis of the entire benchmarking process. You will have a sharply focused, clearly defined procedure that tells management what needs to be changed, how much change can be achieved within given limitations, and how to measure accurately your processes against those of others and against your own future projections. This step determines which organizations should be studied by identifying the best of the best organizations whose practices can be adapted to your requirements. When you've gone through step 2, you will have compiled a large list from which to choose organizations to contact as potential partners, based on the superior quality of their processes. This step involves creating a plan for collecting data from selected targets, conducting site visits and creating a site visit report. The correct implementation of this step will result in data that can be used directly to enhance your organization's performance. Your organization will have complete, accurate and relevant data with which to compare its own processes with the best of the best. This step involves analyzing the data collected, discovering to what degree present performance lags behind the best in each area and combining the best features from the best practices into an ideal process. After you've accomplished step 4, relevant features from each of the best practices will combine into an ideal practice that can be implemented within budgetary and other constraints of your organization. During this step, your team will examine your organization's past performance in relation to its competitors, forecast potential change in your industry and project future performance, both with and without the proposed benchmarking changes. Upon completing step 5, you will have identified the quantitative benefits of implementing the proposed benchmarking changes. This step involves communicating the benchmarking results and their implications to significant audiences in the organization and motivating them to carry out changes. Step 6 will ensure that the advantages of change have been explained to the parties involved to motivate them to carry it out. This step involves revising goals to close the performance gap determined in step 5 and achieving agreement on those goals. Step 7 establishes precise goals that management has approved and that all employees understand. Try it out. This step establishes the step-by-step plan designed to bring about the goals created and approved in Step 7. Upon completing Step 8, management has approved the specifics of the plan, appropriate individuals have been empowered to carry it out, and every individual knows what changes in his or her work procedure are expected. This step involves executing the approved best practice procedures and the day-to-day monitoring of changes. Step 9 develops procedures to enable close monitoring of the changes and tracking of results so that, over time, successful elements of the new practices can be retained, and the less successful ones eliminated. This step ensures the organization remains on the cutting edge by continuously evaluating the benchmark practices and reinstituting the benchmarking process when necessary. After completing Step 10, the organization will understand when and how it needs to recalibrate benchmarks and will never put itself at risk by becoming complacent.
There are several advantages of benchmarking. Most of the common benefits of the benchmarking help to improve the productivity of the company. Moreover, these advantages can provide a clear picture about the key factors of benchmarking in the company. First, increased competitions. While running a business, an organization may face strong competition from the other organizations. With this competition, it will help the organizations to maintain their position even better in terms of their success rate of the organization. Thus, benchmarking process will definitely increase as healthy competition among different organizations. Second, the organization can identify its own essential activities. One of the best possible advantage of the benchmarking is that it can help all the organizations to identify their own essential activities that can improve the profits. Thus, after benchmarking, it is very much important for all the organizations to be identified in the list of organizations, which is in a run and where it can deliver the victory of their organization effectively. Third, the quality of work. Since benchmarking is the way of the organizations identifies their strengths and weakness compared with the rest of the organizations, then it is quite clear that all the aspects of the organizations need to be improved at a time-to-time basis. In this way, the organizations can deliver quality in their working order. Thus, benchmarking makes things clear and creates some sort of awareness among the organization's working environment. Last but not least, benchmarking can increase the performance of the organizations. In the benchmarking process, it is already explained that benchmarking process will identify all the features and elements of the organizations which can lead the organizations towards its success. Eventually, it also provides essential signals regarding the need and wants of the organization. Once the organizations finds out about the actual requirements of the organizations, then it can increase its work performance as per the comparison aspects.
Even though there are various advantages of benchmarking, there are few limitations also which has to be considered. One of the limitations is it is just a mere suggestion. In benchmarking, it only suggests the organization to improve the weak factors or helps to spot areas which need improvement. It does not contribute to solving the issues in hand. Everything is a pure suggestion and does not give any straight answer for the issues. Next is insufficient information. Sometimes, while comparing the aspects of different companies, the information acquiring company can be left behind with their information gathering techniques. This simply implies that benchmarking helps to show outer look nothing deep into the business strategy of other organizations. The next limitation is benchmarking fails when it is not properly implemented. Benchmarking has to be properly adopted by following the various data collected. When it is not followed periodically, there might be no net result as it is not a one-day process. Next is increased dependency. Most of the companies thinks that benchmarking helps them improve their company position as it helped those successful companies to be in the top. But most of the companies forgets that those companies which made themselves to that top position have earned their hard work. Therefore, instead of depending on the ideas which made that company successful, they can build their own network to make them independent for the better future.